Ghidorah versus Mechagodzilla. Two of Godzilla's classic arch-rivals came to the monsterverse and stole the show. But which of these two would actually win in a fight to the death? First, we have to talk about their feats. While Mechagodzilla has less impressive visual and calculable feats, he does scale to a version of Godzilla, and so does Ghidorah. But what matters here is which version is stronger. As I covered in a previous video, Godzilla was stronger during the events of King of the Monsters than he was during Godzilla vs. Kong. Even so, we know that Godzilla in GVK is stronger than Mechagodzilla at his best. But after facing Kong and expending a lot of energy over multiple hours to days of shooting the atomic breath, Mechagodzilla, in a completely one-sided slam, completely bullies Godzilla in a pretty hilarious fashion, actually. Something to note, though, is while Mechagodzilla tossed Godzilla around fairly easily, he wasn't actually able to inflict a lot of lasting damage. The most he really does to him, at least in film canon, is give him a black eye after overpowering him with his proton scream. None of Mechagodzilla's spikes, claws, or physical punches really do much damage. And this is even noted with it being stated that Mechagodzilla has no way to kill Godzilla externally, so even his drill tail shouldn't really be able to do much. And that to kill him, he must try to use the proton scream down his throat, which is dubious if it would even succeed.
I think Mechagodzilla comes close. I think maybe if he had blown that red beam down his throat, Muto style, that would have done him up, but potentially.
Who knows? We don't know what Godzilla's inside is made of. I mean, it might be just as strong, so who knows?
However, he boasts great speed that can completely blitz around Godzilla and slam him into the floor. Multiple weapons such as missiles, claws, blades, saws, his drill tail, the proton scream, sharp saws for his teeth, a supercomputer brain that seems to know quite a bit of human martial arts, and many more unseen things. Now for his opponent, King Ghidorah. Now, it is also dubious whether or not King Ghidorah is the stronger, or if Godzilla is the stronger, or if they're simply relative. Because of such, we'll use statements for both sides. It's mentioned in the King of the Monsters art book when Ghidorah does his pose in Antarctica is because he's stronger than Godzilla is. Which is why he doesn't do it later in the Boston battle where Godzilla is the one with the upper hand. When both wrestle, Godzilla is actually being pushed back. Both of them are able to cause pain to each other and withstand their attacks, so they are at least fairly relative. Ghidorah's gravity beams are able to burn through Godzilla's hide, leaving deep scars in his flesh and burn marks. We have a statement from Mechagodzilla's designer that the proton scream is on par with a gravity beam, and Ghidorah boasts 3 gravity beams. However, he says that if they were to beam clash, a huge explosion would nearly take out both of them. This doesn't really make a lot of sense though, considering Mechagodzilla is a glass cannon, 100%. We know that the atomic breath can completely destroy Mechagodzilla with enough exposure, even when severely weakened, as shown by Kong's base axe bouncing off, compared to the charge axe cleaving through like butter. Whereas we know Ghidorah can tank the atomic breath. Sometimes it can burn him, but he gets blasted by powered up Godzilla in Boston, sent flying back, and even with prolonged exposure is rather fine. We know Ghidorah scales above Muto Prime, who in turn scales above Mechagodzilla and Kong. Speaking of Kong, well, people won't like this. Kong scales to Mechagodzilla, at least enough. He's able to catch punches from him, take blows from him, knock him around with even the base axe, and it's mentioned in the art book that Kong's brute strength can overpower the mech. This is despite the fact we know that a serious Godzilla can eat Kong's punches and decimate him in under a minute, whereas a serious Godzilla, even with an amp from a nuke, takes multiple hours to take on and overwhelm King Ghidorah. And even Godzilla 2019 in his base full power is overwhelmed by Ghidorah. And fun fact, if you actually look closely, you can see that Ghidorah's triple gravity beam actually goes right through Godzilla's atomic breath, striking him in the chest, leaving a massive burn and sending him flying. Similar to, and in fact even better, than the feat performed by Mechagodzilla in GVK to a stronger Godzilla. As for durability, minus death rolls underwater that can tear off heads. We know that he can withstand numerous bites, claw marks, charges, and even blasts from a Godzilla, and can anything eat his attacks enough to actually overpower him. If that's not enough, Ghidorah boasts insane regeneration abilities, able to regrow a neck and a skull in roughly 30 seconds. Based on that, it seems pretty clear that King Ghidorah wins this matchup. If you disagree, comment your thoughts down below. If you do agree, share this, like this, comment as well, and post it on social media. Let's get the word out there. Thank you, and see you all next time.
It's time to show the world what you can do.